Thank you all for being here with us today as we pay tribute to Kent Perkins, who is our beloved race director and has been since he was hired in 1982. I can't imagine that the city of St. George had any clue what they were in for when they hired Kent Perkins back in 1982. I've never known a man with more passion and drive and commitment to making the world a better place. I sat in his office not too long ago. It was just he and I, and he said to me, "Kiddo, let's change the world." And it was just he and I, so at that moment I thought, huh? Well, there's only two of us in this room and one of us is retiring soon, so that changing the world business is not going to fall on these shoulders. But then I realized that he wasn't leaving too soon, so knowing him, he'll change the world here before he leaves us. Kent is more than a boss to most of us. He is a friend, he is a mentor. To me, he gives the best advice. I kind of tell him all the time, and he's like my work dad. I know that I can go to Kent when I'm angry, and he knows exactly what to say to calm me down. And he knows exactly what to do and how to handle every situation. He has been such a blessing in the lives of so many people. And we just wanted to just take a few minutes today and say thanks to him for making this event into what it is today. The marathon itself has touched so many lives and has changed so many lives. And Kent Perkins has had a hand in all of that. We have a few people with us today who just want to share a few words about Kent. And then, after Terry Tucker is going to go first, and then Kent Page will follow Terry Tucker. And then we're going to turn the time over to Kent, who said he has very few words to say, but he'll speak to us just for a minute. And then we'll just kind of mix and mingle amongst ourselves and just say goodbye to him and pay tribute to him. So I'll turn the time over to Terry Tucker.
Ken, I feel it an honor to be asked to say a few words. We've done a few things together and been involved in this marathon together for a few years. The first thing I thought about was just trying to think of some of the changes that have happened since 1983. Those of you who have been around a long time and ran back in the early 80s remember when the road was open to traffic going back up and down the road as we were running, and how they were on the side of the road stirring up dust and making it pretty miserable for us. That was the first thing I thought about, was getting that done. I thought about the size and the direction things have gone. I look back if my records were right, back in '83 there was 1,250 runners. This year, 7,800. And part of that growth is shown in a lot of what you guys already know, but looking back again in '83, there was 1,200 runners, and this year there are 1,505 10-year club runners, with the possibility of adding another 129 this year. The 20-year club now has 255 members, with the possibility of adding another 21 this year. The 30-year club has 29 members, with the possibility of adding 7 this year. And within 24 hours, we'll have a member of the 40-year club. So
we hope.
We hope. I think you just have to start, Debbie. You'll be all right. And then some of the other changes that have happened, it was Kent who got involved with the city of Ibagawa, which the exchange with them back and forth has been a good cultural experience for both them and us. Had the opportunity several years ago to be able to go on that exchange and witness the people of Japan and their hospitality and stuff. And that's been a blessing for both races. The other thing was the big decision he had to make a few years ago when he changed the last 3 miles of the marathon. And for those of you again that did it before and after, a great change getting off that busy Bluff Street and the nasty sun on Bluff Street, didn't move around town a little bit and seeing some shade, having a few more spectators. That's been a good improvement. We take it for granted nowadays that all the marathons have a pace group that Cliff Bar has taken hold of and done. I remember, I think it was 95, Kent was instrumental in bringing the staff of Runners World to St. George Marathon for the first ever pace group. They had just their staff members who run all the time come out, and they were assigned different groups to take over. Great experience associated with those guys and being involved with that and seeing what's happened to it since. Ken started talking about the 10-year club and all that kind of stuff. It was him who started the first timers clinic that we've had now for, I don't know, I've done it 22 years, so 24 years that they've had that going, 27 years that they've had that. That's been a lot of people talk about how great that's been. Until rock and roll and a few of those great big things started that are no fun at all, having done a few of those, St. George Marathon was one of the top 10 number-wise in the country. It's been voted one of the most scenic. He didn't have anything to do with the scenic part, but he's got a lot of people coming here. And it was voted one time the best marathon to plan a vacation around. So Kent's done a lot of things to improve and grow and make this a very enjoyable experience for all of us. One of the things I've noticed is over the last 4 or 5 years, Kent has several times said he wanted to run the marathon as a participant, not as a director. And unlike the rest of us, he thought he had to be ready and prepared and those kind of things. Well, when you see how he's run the marathon as the director, you can see all the preparation goes into making sure it pulls off just right. We've got to convince him one of these days that us as runners don't ever get that prepared for running the race. We just go do it, no matter, it's kind of winging. So you may have more time next year to prepare to get ready and to run it, Ken. If not, just wing it, come and join us and have fun anyway. I think that's all I had of some things that, I just think it's been a pleasure to be involved with the marathon, to be a friend of Kent's, and to enjoy all the things he's done and the growth that's taken place here. I don't know how you can say more than just thank you, and we appreciate you guys.
I second all that Terry has said and what Cam has said as well. Many of the world know that the St. George Marathon is fast and scenic and well organized. While all this is true, the success of the marathon is more accurately attributed to the detailed and personal service to the individual participant or runner by the collaborative effort of thousands of volunteers, hundreds of businesses and community organizations, and hundreds of City of St. George officials and employees over the last 40 years. We call this the Dixie Spirit. And for the last 34 years, Kent has been the director of this event. Hundreds, like Terry said, 1,500 have participated in this event over and over. The race has grown 400% since Kent started. Participants may first come for the scenic course, the fast course, but they return because of how they are treated. I know Kent and all associated with the St. George Marathon have received many personal, written, and verbal accolades over the years. The success of the marathon really is remarkable considering the size of this community. Every year, Kent has been the steady force at the helm, continuing to strive to improve this event. He does this by asking the detailed questions. He asks for detailed criticism of everything, reading and listening to all responses, and seeking to execute improvements with all involved. He asks and listens to everyone, volunteers, sponsors, community organizations, and all participants. Kent has instilled within this event, this community association, excellence in all of its details. And he reminds us that the excellence is in the details well done. For instance, what size of cups for the Gatorade water. Should you serve the water first, the Gatorade? Where should the aid stations be? How the cups should be filled? At what level? How they should be handed out? Should there be pins at the aid stations? Vaseline, balloons at the mile markers, and make sure that mile markers are at the right places. All these little details help to the overall experience of the participant and help them have a better experience. Kent understands that it's more enjoyable to have everything as much as predictable as possible for the marathon. One year, Debbie Zollman complimented Kent on a perfect race, and Kent responded that the marathon started 40 seconds late, which he regretted. Kent sincerely remembers and implements recognition to the individual runner, the individual sponsor, the individual volunteer, the individual employee. The marathon reflects his influence. Some examples of this are the year that Kent corrected the runner's t-shirt because the color of the cliffs wasn't exactly right. Or the runner's shirt, the sleeve was a little bit too long, or the decal was defective. One year the course was under reconstruction, and he heard that because it wasn't paved, it wouldn't meet a certification standard. So through Kent's influence and the influence of the governor, the course was repaved in time for the marathon. The Clark Morris Memorial Award is an excellent example of Kent's focus on the one. This award recognizes anyone who has overcome adversity in their training and personal lives to run the marathon. Kent has always been sensitive to the impact of the marathon on the individual, whether it be refunds, and whether it be having the correct time and award given, to have personal massages and showers and blankets. This seems to be beyond the call of what's ordinary, and I believe a lot of races have implemented the ideas that Kent has instilled. Terry mentioned the Ibigawa Marathon, which is a wonderful exchange between two communities that benefits all. An example of how Kent remembers the one is when I was serving in the marathon staff. It came to Kent's attention that some of the post-race refreshments, or all of the post-race refreshments, were depleted to the point where the last finishers were, I guess, a little bit too late for the post-race refreshments. So Kent asked me to collect some post-race refreshments in 2 large coolers and have them set aside at a designated location for those finishers. To Kent, every runner is elite. Other times, Kent and staff would go out of their way to deliver a correct bib number late in the night before the marathon, or, as I mentioned, correct an award, a record, or individual time. Kent is everywhere during the marathon. I don't think he sleeps for a few days. He's here, he's there, he's at the expo, he's at the clinics, he's at the dinner, he's at the finish line, he's at the starting line. I think he'd be at every aid station if he physically could be there. Every little detail has Kent's signature or influence. I was talking to some longtime runners, and they said that the marathon, in particular Kent, treats their participants like royalty. If it be the First Timers Clinic or the 10-year club, members of the 10-year club are treated to a photograph, their names are recognized, they are given a gourmet dinner complete with a symphony orchestra. One runner mentioned that on his birthday he was running the marathon, and on his bib he had a cake decal, and at the finish line he had a necklace and a cookie presented to him. Kent remembers to praise and to quickly recognize the individual marathon staff, sponsors, and volunteers. He treats everyone well. In conclusion, thank you, Kent, for directing such a quality event for 34 years that challenges each of us each year to be a better runner, a better community member, and a better person. Hundreds of people desire to participate again and again each year, whether running or volunteering, because it strengthens friendships and relationships. Your detailed visionary leadership has affected running events throughout the world, and a myriad of community events such as the Huntsman World Senior Games, the St. George Ironman, and the St. George Art Festival. Your leadership and vision needs to be recognized. It is demonstrated in the approximate 45 miles of trails, the numerous and various recreational programs, and the quality of the many parks, notably the soon-to-be dedicated Thunder Junction All Abilities Park, Utah's first major park dedicated to people with disabilities and other special needs. Last year, Leisure Services won the National Gold Medal Award for Excellence in Park and Recreation Management, picked from among hundreds of entrants nationwide. Many have experienced, Kent, your personal care through the marathon, through coaching youth sports, through your service to youth with special needs in the community, your service to the city, and your service in the community. To Kent, the St. George Marathon is less than a production and more of an individual service. If there's one key ingredient to the success of the St. George Marathon, it is Kent's vision he shares and the leadership he gives in continuing to remember to serve the individual runner in the most detailed way. Kent would say the key ingredient in the success of the St. George Marathon is you, the individual runner, that the marathon is built around you. Thank you, Kent, for serving all of us once. We seek to emulate your example. Thank you.
This was Cammie Ellsworth's last marathon too. Her retirement wasn't voluntary. Ooh. Oh crap. This is supposed to be a meet and greet. You know, you come in, you say hi, you leave, I go do my thing, and that's about it. But, gosh, it's nice to see all of you. You know, when Rob Snow and I were together back in 1983 or something like that, we wrote together a little paper. It was called How to Organize a Marathon or Any Other Small War. And you know, that small war at 1200 has grown to significant proportions. It really has nothing to do with individuals. It has to do with everybody. It has to do with literally everybody. I told my kids today that this thing and this dedication we're going to do next week is going to be kind of a diet of sorts, a weight loss program, because I'm going to lose about 25 pounds of tears in the next week or two. Right, Gary? So don't get me started. You know that it really comes down to it is it's really a labor of love, and it really comes down, as indicated, to the individual. To me, the real success of the marathon is seeing guys like Tim and Dave at the start of the race. You'll never see crud. You've never seen a start like that. You've never seen a group of people who are so committed to making sure that every country is represented. They go out of their way to find every flag of every person that is participating in the event. It is pristine. It's sensational. That is the success of the marathon. The commitment of the individuals to the event, to the success of the event. The commitment of the runners to come and be here every year. Good grief, who would have thought that many people would want to come to this place every year over and over again to be able to put themselves through that experience and all those sore quads to participate in this great event. Jeez, that's incredible to me. You know, to think that there would be a runner who would stick with this thing for all 40 years, through thick and thin, through health and not health, through babies and not babies, to be a part of this thing. That's where the success is. It's the individual staff. Holy mackerel. When I walk out the door, it'll be like the wind blowing, shut a door and moving on. And we are left with such great people, such great and good people who are it's in great hands, folks. So, spread the word. Marathon is off and running after 40 years. We're going to do another, how many do you want to do? 40. The only person that will still be here in 40 years will be Kendra and Gary Esplin. Right? 40 years. This event has a life of its own. And you know what's interesting is I walk through the crowds and talk to people. I can't remember everybody's names, and I'm sorry. I wish I could, but after you've had 29,000 or 30 or 50 or 100. We had over 120,000 finishers. I would like to have memorized everybody's name. But, you know, early on we made the decision that it wasn't about big names and lots of money and stuff about it. It was about the individual. So what's our mantra about our growth? What is our philosophy of bigness? You want to tell everybody?
Will not grow larger than we can provide a quality experience for each and every runner.
Yeah, I hope you heard that. Because every runner that crosses the finish line needs to feel most important. In fact, the most important runner in this race is the next one to cross the finish line. In reality, the most important runner of the race is the next one to cross the starting line. And that's the way you've got to treat it. And that's how we believe, honestly, and I think the people feel that. And the volunteers, good grief. I don't know how many thousands and thousands of volunteers we've had over the years, but we could not do without the volunteers and their great success. And when we do a survey at the end of this thing, every year the volunteers are right at the top. And so we can't run an event like this without an incredible cater of volunteers that continue on and on and on. Oh, jeez. I do feel like I'm being eulogized there for a minute, Mr. Page. I'm not retiring for a while, really, honestly. Maybe. After the end, I'll just sidle out there. 6 months notice? Not yet, not yet. Hey, thank you. Thanks for believing in what a little town can do. In 1989, I went to the National TAC. What was that? What they used to? What is
The Athletics Congress.
Yeah. The Athletics Congress, the United States Track and Field Association. And I was there to put in a bid to host the National Masters Championships. And they literally laughed at us. You're just a little town. You don't even have, what was it, 25,000 people. How could you host a major event? And I said, you've got to believe in St. George. We hosted the largest junior college bowl game in the world. We have the largest academic decathlon in the world. We have I went right on down the list. I said, you got to believe in this. And they laughed and said, you're too small. So I went back the next year. I'm here again. We haven't had that many more people, but I want you to know we're going to do this and we're going to do it right. And they gave it to us. We had to go against Minneapolis, Minnesota, and a little bit bigger than us. And I told them, you'll never have a better experience. You'll never find better volunteers. I'll get you for this. Better staff, and a more beautiful community, and a more supportive community. And they believed in it, and they gave it to us. And afterwards, the biggest detractors who came to the event just to prove that we couldn't do it came up afterwards and shook my hand and said, you did it. You promised, you did it. And Minneapolis didn't want to lose it, so the next year they bid $100,000 to take it away from us. And they got it, and bingo, that's too bad for them. But the bottom line was we proved that we could do it, and we've been continuing to prove it all these years. And 2 or 3 years ago, we were voted as the most organized marathon in the United States. What did I... Tammy, what did I say to the staff? You want to stand up and tell them that? Think about it.
Oh, that now we have to prove it. Every year we have to prove that we are the most organized race in the nation. And we literally break the event down every year from scratch because Kent told us to, and we rebuild and make sure that it is the most organized, and we'll stay that.
So when you get an accolade, the gauntlet's thrown at your feet and it says, you better prove that you're what we say you are. And so that's what our goal is every year. So we hope we prove that. And if we haven't, we'll be better next year. Or else. Right? So I don't know what else to say, but thank you. Thanks for your commitment, your interest. Don't start it.
Well, I wasn't invited to say anything today, which I'll second Kent's recommendation that somebody's fired on this particular issue. But I'm going to take credit for everything that's good about the marathon. My name's Gary Esplins. I'm the city manager of St. George, and I've been here 41 years, going on my 41st year. So you know, if he's been here 34, that somebody had to hire him. I was smart enough to listen to his BS, to listen to all his stories. If you've ever been around Kent very much, you better bring your lunch, because he's going to talk, and he's going to talk, and he's going to dream, and he's going to have a vision. And he's one of the only guys I know that when he has his vision, 9 times out of 10 it comes true. And you just look around this community, you can see that. One good thing about Kent retiring, when he does, is that the marathon's going to change. Because I'm going to stay as city manager long enough to outlast him. And then I'm moving the finish line to Town Square. I've been trying for 10 years now. I've been trying to...
Kent, I'm on your team. I'm on your team.
To get him to move downtown. He's always got the right answers and always tells me how come that can't happen. And I respect his opinion because he knows more about that than anybody. So I would be amiss if I didn't express my appreciation to Kent and the opportunity I've had to work with him. And like he said, this next couple of weeks, with the culmination of many years of dreaming and scheming on the All Buildings Park, it's going to be very emotional. As we leave, I'm not giving any notice, Mayor, yet, but as we culminate our careers, that the legacy that we leave, there can't be anything more important than a part that helps all kids, where there's no exclusions. And I think Kent's made that evident in his marathon that he has run, that everybody is important, regardless of your time, regardless of when you finish or what your disability is or how you got there. It doesn't matter, everybody's important, and I've learned that lesson from him. When the time comes, I'll miss him. Between now and then, I'll try to keep the city solvent so he doesn't spend all the money.
Well, thank you again for joining us today. Just before we close, we have a couple little gifts for Kent. If you would like to come up.
Well, one, really.
You would not like to go.
So we have these jackets. Actually, we made one for Lynn too, because as oh yes.
I have to say this, and I do this all the time, and I so apologize. I'd like to thank my family. Could you stand, family? Wave. can imagine how hard it is on a family to have somebody who can't keep his mouth shut.
So, we have these jackets made for Kent, and we made one for Lynn too. Hers also says race director on it because we know that she's put in just as many hours and sleepless nights as the rest of Kent's family has. So we're going to present this jacket to Kent, this race director jacket from 1982 to 2016. And then we also have a little gift basket that was donated by Meters. And this will go to the rest of the family because it has chocolate in it. Ken doesn't eat chocolate. I told him he's on a quest for the world's best peanut butter cookies, so there might be an attempt in here for that. But thank you all for coming. We appreciate you.